Hello everyone and welcome to the September Let's Talk Criterion. Of course, the hot talking point is the Criterion impending debut into the world of 4K physical media. Very exciting. The news is out now, of course, so we can't bring it to you fresh, but they've announced titles starting in November. Heading the lineup is the 80th anniversary release of Citizen Kane, a 4-disc set, and has a special place for Criterion collectors as it's their very first Laserdisc release, as well as being an absolutely perfect choice for their very first 4K release. The cover art has caused some controversy, with some liking its simplicity and others disliking it intensely, fueling a social media debate. A Facebook group has even popped up for those in favour of the cover art. Certainly other Facebook groups in existence, like Criterion Considered, has had many posts in the last few weeks about this title, but that aside, it still doesn't change the fact that it's been a long-awaited release, even on Blu-ray on Criterion, never mind UHD. I, for one, can't wait to purchase it, and I've my pre-order in already with Amazon US. The other titles include 2 titles new to Criterion. That's Jane Campion's Palme d'Or winning The Piano with Holly Hunter and Anna Paquin, and the Hughes Brothers' Menace to Society, and existing titles like David Lynch's Mulholland Drive and the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night. 2 popular titles certainly in Criterion sales. So many may skip those ones though in favour of purchasing the new 4K releases. Now the price point is as was expected by many. Citizen Kane the most expensive at $50 and the others are $39. Another reason to wait for a sale perhaps before purchasing? It'll be interesting to see how many 4K titles are announced each month going forward, and it's nice to finally see Criterion joining the other boutique labels in the 4K marketplace. No announcement, however, on the UK Criterion 4K plans yet, but of course, being a region-free format, it means that UK buyers can acquire their 4K discs on import. It's just the price point may prohibit some from doing so at this time. So now we turn to the September releases, both in the US and UK. Now we begin in the UK with the release of David Lynch's 1990 Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me. Now it's already been available for some time in the US Criterion collection, but it will certainly be a welcome release to our British fans of David Lynch. Last year we had the arrival of The Elephant Man, only in the US, and of course we already have Mulholland Drive and Eraserhead and Blue Velvet already in the collection. Now, Firewalk with Me is a continuation of the acclaimed TV series Twin Peaks. Now, if you haven't watched the TV series, my advice to you is not to watch this. It's a standalone movie. It directly links onto the second season and the storyline. Don't worry, there are no spoilers here. Most of the things this film deals with are locked firmly in the psyche of David Lynch, and to contemplate understanding what certain scenes represent in the whole Twin Peaks universe would be somewhat foolish. This is essential viewing for any fan of the TV show, and especially anyone thinking of watching Twin Peaks: The Return, as several parts of this are relevant to the ongoing story. It was openly mocked when it was originally released, but time and creative essence that only Lynch can do, has made this movie beyond criticism now. As a standalone movie, it's fragmented and confusing, with standout performances by the principal cast, led of course by Kyle MacLachlan. But this will never be a standalone movie. It's far more central to the Twin Peaks story than any single episode of the series, and does do a very good job filling in the missing pieces of Laura Palmer's life and offering a few secrets about the outcome of the 3rd season. Having said that, if you watch this film, you will see a singular visionary director artwork with a complex and visually striking film unfolding in front of you. Criterion presents this in a digipack format with an interesting booklet and excellent artwork suitable to the film. Now the supplements on the disc are the missing pieces, 90 minutes of deleted and alternate scenes from the film assembled by Lynch, an interview from 2014 by Lynch with actors Cheryl Lee, Ray Wise and Grace Zabriskie, new interviews with Lee and composer Angelo Badalamenti, excerpts from an interview with Lynch from Lynch on Lynch, a 1997 book edited by filmmaker and writer Chris Rodley. The interview on the disc is interesting, as Lynch doesn't often do interviews and usually comes across as quite enigmatic when he does so. The music, as ever, by Angelo Badalamenti is superb. So, if you want to enter the weird world that is Twin Peaks, the series is the best place for you to start. When you've been fully initiated into 2 seasons of that, then break into the film Firewalk with me. This release is available from Monday the 13th of September in the UK as spine number 898. A nod to the original cast album Company, the recording of the 1970 cast album by D.A. Pennebaker, which is also out on September the 13th as Spine 1090. I covered this in my August edition of Let's Talk Criterion, and there's a link to that on the screen now. Mona Lisa is the brilliant 1986 breakthrough film by writer-director Neil Jordan, which journeys into the dark heart of the London underworld to weave a gripping, noir-infused story. Bob Hoskins received a multitude of honours, including an Oscar nomination for his touchingly vulnerable, not-so-tough guy, George, recently released from prison and hired by a sinister mob boss, Michael Kane, to chauffeur call girl Simone, Kathy Tyson, in a celebrated performance between high-paying clients. The film also stars Robbie Coltrane, Clark Peters and Kate Hardy. Bob Hoskins had proved himself in the John Mackenzie London Bobster film The Long Good Friday 6 years earlier, and was a perfect choice for George. He received singular praise for his performance, and he won his first Golden Globe as well as BAFTA and Cannes Award for Best Actor. Unfortunately, he narrowly missed out on the Best Actor Oscar to Paul Newman for The Colour of Money the following year. Mona Lisa firmly established director Neil Jordan as a mainstream director with films such as Company of Wolves the previous year and The Crying Game. His films were often a firm favourite amongst British cinema-going audiences, but his quality of output dwindled somewhat in the 1990s. Mona Lisa has already been released by Arrow in the UK, and this Criterion release so far will only be available in the US. It's technically a Blu-ray upgrade, as it's already in the collection as a DVD title. Now, the features on the disc are an audio commentary from 1997 featuring Jordan and actor Bob Hoskins, a new conversation with Jordan and actor Kathy Tyson, moderated by the critic Ryan Gilbey, interviews from 2015 with screenwriter David Leland and producer Stephen Woolley, interview with Jordan and Hoskins from the 1986 Cannes Film Festival, and an essay by Ryan Gilbey. Now, a special nod also to the superb cover art by Alice X. Zhang, one of the most impressive covers for me this year. Finally, a mention to Nat King Cole, whose song Mona Lisa is used very fittingly in the film's soundtrack. Mona Lisa is released in the US on Tuesday the 14th of September as spine number 107. Gina Price Blythewood's debut feature Love and Basketball from 2000 hits Criterion for the first time on September 21st. This elevates the coming-of-age romance by giving honest expression to the challenges female athletes face in a world that doesn't see them as equal. Sana Lathan in Alien vs Predator and Omar Epps from Higher Learning make one of the most iconic screen couples of the 2000s shine as the basketball-obsessed next-door neighbours who find love over flirtatious pickup games, fall apart under the strain of high-pressure college hoops and families, and drift in and out of each other's lives as they pursue their twin aspirations of playing professionally. Aided by stellar supporting performances and an eclectic R&B soundtrack, Love and Basketball captures the intoxicating passions, heartbreaking setbacks and sky-high ambitions that mark a young woman's journey to the top of her game and to lasting love. In writing the semi-autobiographical film, Prince Blythewood said her goal was to do a Black When Harry Met Sally. She credited executive producer Spike Lee with being a big reason the film was able to get made, with her directing her own script. Gabrielle Union, who wound up playing Quincy's high school love interest, originally auditioned for the lead role of Monica. Prior to playing Monica, Sana Lathan had never played basketball. Unbeknownst to Prince Blythewood, stars Lathan and Omar Epps had started dating prior to the film's production, which made things a bit easier. Love and Basketball was released on April 21st, 2000 in the US, and it received positive reviews from critics with praise directed at the performances, particularly those of Lathan and Epps, Prince Blythewood's direction and script, and the emotional weight of the film itself. The film fared incredibly well with awards, taking all the major accolades at the Black Reel Awards in 2001, as well as getting major nods at the NAACP Image Awards. And over the years, the film has developed a dedicated following too, cementing its place in popular culture and establishing itself as a cult classic, which I dare say is why it was selected to go into the Criterion collection. This year they've been highlighting black directors especially, like Dee Rees with Pariah, and soon of course Melvin Van Peebles in the collection. The extras on this release include 2 audio commentaries from 2000, one featuring Prince Blythewood and actor Saina Nathan, and the other featuring Prince Blythewood, editor Terrelyn A. Shropshire, and composer Terence Blanchard. New making of documentary featuring Prince Blythewood, Lathan, actors Omar Epps and Alfre Woodard, and producer and writer Reggie Rock Blythewood, and basketball advisor Colleen Masuhara. Editing Love and Basketball, a new programme featuring Prince Blythewood and Shropshire. A new conversation among Prince Blythewood, WNBA legend and Hall of Famer Cheryl Swoops, and writer-producer-actor Lena Waithe. Deleted scenes with optional audio commentary by Prince Blythewood and Shropshire. Audition tape excerpts. 2 short films by Prince Blythewood, her UCLA thesis film Stitches from 1991 and Progress from 1997, and there's a new introduction by the director on both of those, and an essay by the author Roxane Gay. There we go, not a bad selection of supplements there. Love and Basketball releases in the US on Tuesday, September 21st, and on Monday, October 25th here in the UK as Spine 1097. One of the most personal films by the prolific Hong Kong auteur Johnny 2 is a thrilling love letter to both the cinema of Akira Kurosawa and the art and philosophy of judo. Amid the neon-drenched nightclubs and gambling dens of Hong Kong's nocturnal underworld, the fates of 3 wandering souls, a former judo champion now barely scraping by as an alcoholic bar owner, Louis Koo, a young fighter, Aaron Kwok, intent on challenging him, and a singer, Cherry Ying, chasing dreams of stardom, collide in an operatic explosion of human pain, ambition, perseverance, and redemption. Throwdown sees another great example of Asian cinema hit the collection. It sits well alongside his other work, including Breaking News, Election, and Election 2. Johnny 2 began his career at age 17 as a messenger for the Hong Kong television studio TVB. Working as an executive producer and director for TV shows, in 1978 he shot his first theatrical feature, but continued working in television. In 1983 he directed and screenwrote the critically acclaimed The Legend of the Condor Heroes, which was a dramatised TV series based on the martial art novel of the same name by Louis Cha. While working as an assistant TV director during the Shaw Studios era, he directed All About Ah Long from 1989, starring Chow Yun-fat, and the film became one of the biggest box office successes of that year. In 1988, he co-directed The Big Heat, his first action movie, and that film was produced by Tsui Hark. And the end of the 1980s also saw some of Two's biggest commercial successes, the vast majority of which were comedies. His 1988 film The Eighth Happiness was also that year's highest grossing movie. Throwdown is one of Two's most personal films to date. He dedicated it to the late Japanese filmmaker Akira Kurosawa, and in making it had drawn upon elements of Kurosawa's debut feature, Sanshiro Sogata. Throwdown had its premiere at the 61st Venice International Film Festival in 2004, and again the cover art on this release looks superb. I must say, Criterion are certainly knocking it out of the park this year with cover art. It's by the artist Jeremy Ensio. The features on the disc are interview from 2004 with director Johnny 2, new interviews with co-screenwriter Yao Nai-Hui, composer Peter Kam, and the film scholars David Bordwell and Caroline Gu. Short making of documentary from 2004 featuring Two and the actors Louis Koo, Aaron Kwok, Cherry Ying and Tony Lung Kafai. And an essay by the film critic Sean Gilman. Now, this is certainly a striking and visually arresting piece of Hong Kong cinema, and it gets its Criterion release on Tuesday, September the 21st, unfortunately only in the US, as spine number 1092. Director, writer, composer, actor and one-man revolutionary, Melvin Van Peebles jolted American independent cinema to new life with his explosive stylistic energy and unfiltered expression of black consciousness. Though he undeniably altered the course of film history with the anarchic Sweetback's Badass song, that pop culture bombshell is just one piece of a remarkably varied career that has encompassed forays into European art cinema, the story of a 3-day pass, mainstream Hollywood comedy, Watermelon Man, and Broadway musical, Don't Play Us Cheap. Melvin Van Peebles' The Essential Films is a 4-film box set showcasing this director's unique work to great effect. Now, I've long been a fan ever since I saw Watermelon Man, which was released on Indicator Powerhouse Blu-ray here in the UK, but I'm looking forward to exploring much more of his work in this set. This set hasn't been announced for the UK, but on import it'll come in at about £93 from Amazon US, which may be a bit steep for some, so again, the US sales in November might be the best way to nab your copy. As I mentioned earlier, Criterion are showcasing black directors this year with the arrival of the signifying works of Marlon Riggs. I covered that a few months back. Melvin Van Peebles was born in 1954 and worked initially as a cable car man in San Francisco before entering film with his debut feature Pick-Up Men for Herrick in 1957. Van Peebles was invited to France on the strength of the short films, and he lived there and wrote 4 novels and some short stories and plays. La Fête à Harlem was also released as a novel, and he would later make this into the musical Don't Play Us Cheap in 1972. Van Peebles made his first feature-length film, The Story of a 3-Day Pass, La Permission, in 1968, based on a novel by the same title. The film caught the attention of the Hollywood producers, who mistook him for a French auteur after it won an award at the San Francisco International Film Festival as the French entry. Van Peebles' first Hollywood film was the 1970 Columbia Pictures comedy Watermelon Man, written by Herman Rodker. The movie tells the story of a casually racist white man who suddenly wakes up black and finds himself alienated from his friends, family and job. After Watermelon Man, Van Peebles became determined to have complete control over his next production, which became the groundbreaking Sweetback's Badass song from 1971, privately funded with his own money and from a $50,000 loan from Bill Cosby. He's a prolific career, and he's aged 89 now and remains a major exponent of black consciousness cinema. Melvin Van Peebles' Essential Films looks an excellent set. It's 5 Blu-rays, 1 per film and 1 for the features, and a detailed booklet. The extras are absolutely superb and are extensive on this set. Badass, a 2003 fictional feature film based on the director Melvin Van Peebles' diaries from the making of Sweetback's Badass song, directed by and starring his own son Mario, with commentary by father and son. New conversations between Mario Van Peebles and the film critic Elvis Mitchell, producer Warrington Hudlin and critic and filmmaker Nelson George, and scholars Gerald R. Butters Jr., Novotny Lawrence and Amy Abugo Onyiri. Audio commentary by Melvin Van Peebles from 1997 on Sweetback's Badass song. 3 early short films from him: How to Eat Your Watermelon in White Company and Enjoy It, a 2005 documentary on his life and career. The Story Behind Badass, The Birth of Black Cinema, a 2004 featurette. Melvin Van Peebles, The Real Deal, a 2002 interview with the director on the making of Sweetback's Badass song. Episodes of Black Journal from 68, 71 and 72 on the story of the 3-day pass, Sweetback's Badass song and Don't Play Us Cheap. An interview from 71 with Van Peebles on Detroit Tube Works. A French television interview from 1968 with Van Peebles and actors Harry Baird and Nicole Berger on the set of the story of a 3-day pass. Excerpts from a 2004 interview with Van Peebles for the Directors Guild of America Visual History Programme. Introductions to all 4 films from the director, and, if that's not enough, a 64-page book featuring writings on the films, including an introduction by the film scholar Raquel J. Gates. Wow, an amazingly comprehensive set of supplements for what will be a brilliant set indeed. Melvin Van Peebles' Essential Films is available only in the US from Tuesday, 20th of September. Also out in the UK on Monday 27th of September is Kari Yoji Fukunaga's Beast of No Nation. Now that's a film I thoroughly recommend. Again, for more detail on that, just click on the link above. Finally, we have a classic masterpiece. It's Luchino Visconti's The Damned. It's heavy subject matter for sure, and the most savagely subversive film he ever made. It employs the mechanics of deliriously stylized melodrama to portray Nazism's total corruption of the soul. In the wake of Hitler's ascent to power, the wealthy industrialist von Essenbeck family and their associates, including the scheming social climber Friedrich, played by Dirk Bogarde, the conniving matriarch Sophie, Ingrid Thulin, and the cruelly deviant Herr Martin, Helmut Berger, memorably donning Marlene Dietrich-like drag in his breakthrough role, descend into a self-destructive spiral of decadence, greed, perversion, and the all-consuming hatred as they vie for power over the family business and over one another. Visconti's luridly expressionistic use of Technicolor conjure a garish world of decaying opulence in which one family's downfall comes to stand for the moral rot of a nation. He began his filmmaking career as a set dresser on Jean Renoir's Partie de Campagne in 1936, through the intercession of their common friend at the time, Coco Chanel. He also worked with Roberto Rossellini and joined the Salotto of Vittorio Mussolini, the son of Benito, who was then the national arbitrator for cinema in Italy, and other arts. Here he presumably also met Federico Fellini, with Gianni Puccini, Antonio Petrangeli and Giuseppe De Santis. He wrote the screenplay for his first film as director, Obsessione, Obsession, in 1943. It was not until The Damned in 1969 that Visconti received a nomination for an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. The film opened to widespread critical acclaim, but also faced controversy from ratings boards for its sexual content, including depictions of homosexuality, paedophilia, rape and incest. In the United States, the film was given an X rating on exhibition. The Damned is one of his most beautiful and personal films in his long, distinguished career, and the disc contains the following extras: alternate Italian language soundtrack, interview from 1970 with the director Luchino Visconti about the film itself, archival interviews with the actors Helmut Berger, Ingrid Thulin and Charlotte Rampling, who's also in the film, Visconti on set, a 1969 behind-the-scenes documentary, a new interview with scholar Stefano Albertini about the sexual politics of the film. There's a trailer and a written essay by scholar D.A. Miller. Now, I've recently acquired The Leopard by Visconti, which I look forward to seeing, and look forward to rewatching The Damned on its release. This release is out in the US on Tuesday, September 28th, and we get it here in the UK Monday, 25th of October, and it's spine number 1098. So that does it for September, and as you can see, it's a really busy month and a great time to be or to become a Criterion collector. Next month we have a very exciting month again with the arrival of Onibaba on Blu-ray, The Incredible Shrinking Man, Lynn Ramsey's Ratcatcher, the Safdie brothers Netflix release Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, and Humphrey Bogart in High Sierra, and Sanjay Dutt Ray's Divi. And I'm also working on a retrospective of the films of the French director Jacques Tati, which I'll hopefully upload nearer to Christmas. So as the world returns to normality, once again, keep well, and above all, keep watching those great movies.